Hello, everyone. I'm here today with Amit Gupta, who is the, I guess, screenplay writer part of it and director of Wallpaper Man. This is a short horror film that we saw at FilmQuest screened there. I don't know if that was that your review or North America, anything like that?
No, actually, our it was our Utah premiere, but
Okay,
our world premiere happened at Screenfest in LA, which was, I don't know, a few weeks before that.
okay. So if nobody, I saw that there's the elevator pitch kind of that's in the program, but if you were to try to promote this to someone that you're just kind of coming out to, what would you tell them it's about?
Well, The Wallpaper Man is about a young girl who moves into a new home with her father, and living within the walls is a creature that feeds upon the pain that the girl has. And it is a Faustian tale in a sense, where the creature offers the girl a deadly exchange. And that is, he will take away any pain that she's suffering in exchange for a human life. So it's pretty high concept there.
Okay. So it came from a short story, who is the other writer that you worked with, but that creature has a very unique look to him. So did that
Mhm.
have some basis in kind of trying to pitch something back and forth between you, or did that come from some other inspiration?
Well, it's interesting. I We wanted a creature that kind of matched a lot of the architecture of the home that we had, the location that we had secured. So we wanted it to have textured, almost like a wooden surface. Looks like it's living inside a tree house or inside a wooden home, an architectural home. Long limbs, somewhere kind of between an insect and a reptile. And really believing that it really emerged out of the wall. Now, in terms of the execution, we did have a ton of money to get into long development of the creature look, which hopefully we'll have for a feature version. But we ended up doing a bit of a mashup in terms of models that we bought and tweaked and changed. So we had a few shortcuts up our sleeve that our effects supervisor was able to do.
Boy, now you got me wondering what model you started with.
That's a secret.
Okay, so you mentioned that you're looking at turning this into a feature. So
Yes, and that was actually the. Sorry, go ahead, Daniel.
no, I was just going to say, so what type, I mean, about how long, I was just wondering how you're going to expand that out. Is it going before, after the story, or, and what type of time frame are you looking at maybe trying to get that done?
Well, it was honestly like the screenplay for the feature was in development before we even made the short. So a little bit of backstory. I came across uh, Caleb's short story on a popular podcast called Horror Tales. And I reached out to Caleb, and we started a kind of back and forth in collaboration on wanting to make this into a movie. And I find that living in LA, a lot of times it seems like everybody has a script these days. So you want to really stand out and create something visual for buyers and production companies to see. So we decided to take kind of condense the core idea of the movie into a 6-minute piece that would just encapsulate what the movie would be about. So that's kind of where we are. We're in the process now of finalizing the screenplay and taking it out to market in the next couple of months.
So this short was really a proof of concept of the greater film.
That is correct.
All right. And so that's going to depend on just how you get funding and the pitches and everything to then determine a timeline from there. So my,
Correct.
my next question, I kind of want to direct more towards you, because I have found when talking with different filmmakers that the inspiration they've had have come from all over the place for following their career.
Mm-hmm.
So for yourself, what are some of the movies or movie that you found was a great inspiration for you to kind of pursue this career of telling story in film?
Great question. And for me, I feel like it was Poltergeist. I remember being in my early teens, or even no, it was when did Poltergeist come out? 81? Yeah, so I was really young, but I saw it when I was older. Um, and the scene where we had one of the parents rotating on the walls and up the ceiling, and it completely fascinated me how they achieved that. So I found this book in my school library that talked about the invisible art of VFX. And that book kind of became a Bible to me. And I like studied all of the ins and out of how practical effects were done. So that was a very early moment. And surprise, surprise, it was also a genre film. So I think that was one of the early ones for me.
Okay, so that leads me to this kind of question. The way that your creature emerges from the wall versus the way that the ghost emerged from the television.
Mhm.
Was that a homage that you had put together for that?
Honestly, I think that's just a coincidence. In fact, we're finalizing Wallpaper Man the script today, and I went back to go watch the climax scene of Poltergeist, and I think once the movie's out, you'll be able to see that's the true homage that we're giving Poltergeist will be the final scene, and also there's some shots in the short where we have the camera kind of creeping up and down the wall. I think those are shots that are probably a little bit more akin to some of the techniques that Poltergeist used.
Okay.
Although, we didn't really have much of a budget for ours. So,
So besides Wallpaper Man, the feature version, do you have anything else that you've kind of been working on that's kind of gnawing at the brain to get out?
well, I'm in terms of my own personal projects, I think that's the one that's I'm leading with and really focusing on. However, I'm a commercial director, so I end up shooting a lot of branded projects through the year. My next shoot is up in Mexico City at the end of this month, and we'll be shooting a motorcycle campaign down there with a lot of stunts and motorcycle jumps and things like that. And then I am also potentially going to be attached to two other features this year that aren't mine, that another production company is developing. But once I sign those, I'll be able to let that out of the bag.
I understand how that works.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have any other hobbies that you kind of bring into this that kind of have played into your becoming a filmmaker?
I am a big motorcycle guy. I love riding motorcycles. And so, funnily enough, that became a bit of a career for me, just being like one of the go-to motorcycle directors of the world. So I get calls almost weekly from brands in other countries that have like car spots or bike spots or things like that. So I think those kinds of hobbies have allowed me to practice my craft as a filmmaker, but I think my heart really lies still in fantasy horror and that kind of really dark cinematic storytelling.
Okay. So I'm going to ask a little bit different question now than I usually ask people because I deal with a lot of writer authors. So people
Mhm.
that write short stories. In fact, I'm currently editing an anthology.
Oh, wow.
How does it feel to you working with someone that was a writer and not a filmmaker? What was that
Mhm.
process like? How did that go for you?
So I think honestly, it's a lot easier for authors and narrative writers to write beautiful words and put them on a page. I think the writing becomes a lot more unexpected and a lot more enjoyable, a lot more texture, I think, and feeling. I think as long as we are able to communicate with them, and Caleb has done an amazing job on working with me on Wallpaper Man the feature, where we just have to make it a little more visual than feeling. So I think that's where some of the adjustment comes. But in terms of like raw talent, I think like authors are would make amazing screenwriters if they were able to just do that one thing.
Kind of move from the internal vision to an external vision. Okay.
Yes.
The reason why I asked that is I know I have a lot of people that are author friends that will probably watch this.
Yeah.
And they'll be going, how do I get in there to film? So you found this story on a podcast or
Right.
on a reading site that does a lot of that. Do you think that's a good way to find stories to produce?
I think it's amazing. There's so much talent out there in the world, and even attending film quest, like such great films, such great stories. People have such amazing ideas. And when in the history of our medium have we had the ability for storytellers to go out and A, self-publish, B, get on a podcast for thousands of people to listen to? So when I have time, I love listening to the no sleep stuff, the horror tale stuff, just finding good inspiration. And in this case, like really getting to collaborate with someone who I think had an amazing story to tell. And I was honestly honored that we were able to work together, and I believe makes something beautiful.
Okay. So now we've kind of talked to the other side. Now if you had someone come up to you saying, hey, I want to get into becoming a filmmaker, what advice
Mhm.
would you give them?
I think it's similar, everyone these days has one of these things. And, it's not going to put you in a theater, but you can shoot with it, you can edit with it, you can upload the medium, you can color correct, you can do anything you want. So I think if you have a story to tell, it's so easy to go and make something now for the first time ever. And, take advantage of it, really hone your craft with that, and then move up, like go rent a 5D, go rent a Black Magic, which is also a really inexpensive camera, and make your art, because it's the easiest it's ever been. So just go make it.
All right. So that's really all the question I had. I really appreciate it. Is there any final thing you would like to share about yourself or your films?
No, I just want to say that I'm very blessed to a be able to do this for a living, and thankful that we have opportunities to tell stories and to reach an audience. And yeah, I'm just thankful for that every day, and encourage everyone to go out and make great stuff and share it with us.
Okay, so right now we've got Wallpaper Man. It's on the film festival circuit. Do you have any other distribution lined up for that, or is that just kind of being used for the feature?
It's been used for the feature currently, and
Okay.
once we get that going, then I'll start looking into other distribution for it.
All right. So look for it in the film festivals that you're about. It's a horror creature horror film, like he says, with a lot of Faustian twist of making that deal. So thank you, Amit. I just combined your first and last name. They're really good. Sorry about that. But thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with next.
Thank you so much for having me, Daniel.